This conversation with Dina Debbas was recorded during a fragile ceasefire in Beirut, Lebanon, where unstable connections make for a challenging recording. You may notice some audio and video imperfections throughout. We chose to share this conversation because Dina's courage in showing up amid such uncertainty gave us something too important to leave unheard. Even in the world's most difficult moments, our mission at Global Lightworkers United is to keep our light alive and shining. Thank you for seeing and listening past the imperfections to receive what's being shared here.
Welcome to Conversations That Illuminate, a Global Lightworkers United podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Ann Dina, and I am one of the co-creators of Global Lightworkers United, a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to unite and empower lightworkers globally by building a supportive, loving community. When we say lightworker, we mean anyone who feels called to bring more healing, compassion, and consciousness into the world. This podcast is a space for real, heart-centered conversations with everyday lightworkers, all who are members of Global Lightworkers United, people who are finding their way, their courage, and their light in a very human world. In each episode, we simply follow where our guest story wants to go, how their light first showed up, how it's moved through their life, and what it's inviting them into now. Toward the end, I'll also ask them for a little everyday spark, a small joy or practice that helps keep their light nourished in daily life.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm very excited to have this opportunity to share my story because I believe that my story could be anyone's story.
Yes. So let's begin. Your personal story is quite unique, though. Might be anyone's story, but it's uniquely yours. And it has fully served as the basis for who you are today and for you, the way that you engage with the world. Can you please maybe share with our listeners a bit about your early life and experiences and how they have shaped you?
So I was born in Beirut 3 years before the Civil War, which played an important part in my life. And as a kid, I was, I think, very sensitive and very aware without knowing that you are sensitive, because who knows, you don't know how the others are and who sets the degree of sensitivity. But I was very sensitive, very aware of others, very aware of injustices, very aware of unpopular people, very aware of my privilege. And I was not met as who I was at the time, meaning that it was difficult for my mother, for my family, to contain me. I was often too much. And I think I put the context of the war, this is why I put it here, as that played an important role. My mother, we left, I was 3 years old, the Civil War had started. She had 2 young children, my brother 2 years older, myself, and she was pregnant with my sister. And they left without knowing when they would come back or for how long. And my father was traveling most of the time, so she ended up sending us to a boarding school for a few months. I was 3 at the time.
Where were you living? Where had you gone to?
We had moved to France.
Okay.
To France. And then there was a series of boarding school at 3, at 4, at 12. But mostly this tension between me and her, and not knowing how to contain me, not knowing how to understand me, not knowing how to, not having tools to navigate.
Was your family religious? I'm curious. Was your family religious also?
Not religious in the sense of, yes, religious in the sense of having a strong belief, of something bigger, but not religious in the sense of like we weren't. It wasn't that important.
Yes. Yes.
There was a belief that held us. And my mother is very religious in that sense. She's very open to spirituality. She's very, but not in the sense that we have to practice every day or we have to, not in this way.
Right.
And so to cope from that lack of being met, I started giving, which was my natural state, but I was giving to be loved in return. That was my aim without understanding. I was really giving to be loved. This was my way of giving at the time. And for many years, I was completely dissociated.
When you say dissociated, you mean you were dissociated from your own feelings, or you were dissociated, and you see that as a result of the fact that, I mean, it was clearly, if you were sent off to boarding school at the age of 3, your mother's pregnant with another child, you're in another country, so it's a whole other culture that you're dealing with. I mean, and you are a classic, light worker child, meaning you have these incredible sensitivities. You have a very open heart. You probably were picking up on everything that was going on. You were dissociating, though, at what level? Because I'm not quite sure that I understand that.
Yeah, I was dissociated physically. So I was numb. I was like cut off from my body. And dissociate from myself. Like I overrode myself. I became what I thought I had to be, not who I was generally, naturally free to be. Everything was calculated, but it wasn't that I saw myself calculating every move. It was just like a strategy. It was so integrated. This was my way of moving through life. And this is how I thought and felt that everyone moved through life.
Yes. So did something happen then? Was there, now you're in France, and I believe you were actually sent like to a boarding school in Switzerland. Is that correct at the time?
I was at the age of 12.
So 12, you went to boarding school in Switzerland, okay. And then what did you decide to, was there something that interested you? Did you decide to pursue studies, or?
No, I decided to be very well behaved, as I thought it was the only way to gain my mother's love. And all of this is totally unconscious. It's years of therapy to uncover and to dig and to understand what was playing out. But at the time, it was really that shrinking into the mold of what I thought I had to be able to be loved. And that mold became so thick. It became like there was like a tower. I was inside a tower and the walls were thick. I was so protected. I had protected my heart, but I was trapped as well.
Oh, that's an interesting way to think about it, isn't it? So what did you feel at the age of 12 and growing up? What did you feel trapped to become? Because you obviously went on fulfilling this mode for quite a while. Did you go back and forth to Lebanon too during this time? Because I mean, I know the war lasted many years, but
the war lasted like 15 years. And throughout those 15 years, my parents decided to go back to Lebanon 3 times to settle. And those 3 times were the worst in the history of Lebanon's civil war. It's interesting. So there was this always back and forth, this unsettling from my parents having left, but not settled anywhere, not settled in France, not being able to come back, and always trying to come back to come back home.
But did it feel like home?
So I went to, not to me, nothing felt like home, actually. Not a place, not a country, not a family. I was like hanging. I was suspended and hanging out there. The only thing that made sense is to be what I thought I should be. It's the only thing I could hold on to. That would give some kind of order in my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is this notion of being displaced physically, displaced culturally, and then you were even there was almost like, because of being sent at such a young age away from your parents and your mother in particular, displaced from your family completely. You were really, so you were very much felt out there alone. And I do have a feeling that there's probably quite a few people who can clearly identify with that. So moving forward, I'm very curious to know, though, what you did continue to decide to pursue. And there is, I'm going to apologize to all the viewers. There is a little bit of a lag. Obviously, Dina's in Lebanon, in her apartment in Beirut, and last week or 10 days ago, just before the ceasefire, there was major bombing in Lebanon, and so the building just next to hers was totally destroyed at, I think you said, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So, we're going to give lots of grace to the to the technological challenges. I think I'm grateful that we have internet connection, and at least I can know my friend Dina is okay. Anyhow, yeah. So what did you decide to pursue as work and study as you?
I was very lost. Like, imagine I'm gathering all my energy to be suspended, to defy gravity, to hold somewhere. Because, as you said, very beautifully and very rightly, I was displaced from my family. I was displaced from that core love, from that core foundation that anchors you. And I was really putting all my energy into just being suspended. I was very lost. I followed my older brother, but very, very lost, and then followed a friend, and then went from graphic design because I thought I was meticulous, and I thought that it could be something I could do, and that's what I did. For a few years, and then I became a photographer. And the thread that connects all those professions, so from graphic design to photography, later on to craniosacral therapy and metaphysics, and who knows what else. But it was always about how to be close to people. How can I be close to people? And as a graphic designer, I would do a lot of identities for NGOs and associations. And then I picked up a camera, and I started to do family portraits. And I worked with the same NGOs as a graphic designer. I moved my profession to becoming a photographer for the same NGOs. I had to start from scratch all over again every time. I didn't learn photography. I just picked a camera and thought I could do this. Not a feeling. It's very humbling, actually, to start something from the beginning. It's something very special. And then the camera became very, very heavy. It became, instead of being the possibility to be where I was with people, it became an obstruction.
Okay.
It became the in between me and people. So it was time to put down the camera. Physically, emotionally, everything. I was ready for something more direct without knowing at all what it was. Every time I feel there's something more, it's like I shed a layer, and I feel that I need maybe a bigger container.
These are things that we hear so often. We hear this so often. It's so you didn't have necessarily a major dark night of the soul. It was just sort of this slow evolution where you knew that being a photographer was no longer what you were supposed to be doing. but you really didn't have an idea what you were supposed to be doing.
No, I never knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I had a breakthrough.
Okay, so what was the breakthrough?
And so breakthrough is 2020. But before that, let me go back just a few years before 2020, is that throughout graphic design, photography, throughout relationships that were ending and feeling dissociated, not knowing, but being dissociated from my body. I was in therapy at some point, and the therapist asked me, "What do you feel?" It was at the beginning, and it was my first therapy. And I said, I didn't understand the question. And she specified, trying to help me, and she said, "What do you feel in your body?" And I was even more lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't understand. I didn't understand those simple words. What do you feel in your body? And I didn't know that you could feel in the body.
Hmm.
So I left that session and I went on a long journey of many years, trying to understand, not with the mind, but as an experience, what does it mean to feel in the body? That's how I ended up with craniosacral therapy. So I have all these tools. I have craniosacral therapy. I've done therapy. I feel I understood my life, and I feel that I've got it. I feel I understand things. I feel I have a sense of control and a sense of wisdom. Comes 2020, and 2020. How do I say this? An explosion. Two explosions, an inner one and an outer one. An inner one, a heartbreak, and an outer one, the explosion in the port of Beirut in August 2020. And the inner one, the personal one, literally blew the walls of my tower. And from having a very limited view from within my tower, I had a 360 view. Everything was open. I had a vision that was 360. I was very open. I was very raw, and I was very vulnerable. And I could feel everything, the pain, the beauty. It was very beautiful and very painful. And in that presence, in that deep presence that life was forcing me to have, I had this spiritual awakening. And in that moment where I was so raw, the explosion happened, the Beirut explosion happened. And what my old self would have done, it's to run and try to save, or to run and try to do something. But I was so raw. I was so within myself that there was no choice but to take care of myself.
And at the time already, Dina, I mean, you were a mother, right? I mean, you
I
had
was,
Imran already, okay? I mean, so
yes,
you're in the midst of your own awakening, yet you had a young child. I mean, so he's 13 now, so that was just 6 years ago. So he must have been like 7 years old, right? About 6 or 7 years
7.
old. So how did you
Exactly.
how did you balance those? Those are two major responsibilities, one to yourself and one to
Mm.
your child.
Well, again, all the gifts you receive. As a mother, my son was born very premature at the beginning of the 7th month, and we didn't know if he was going to make it. And it took me 4 years to accept the responsibility of a mother, of being a mother. It took me 4 years to not be afraid that the love of a child would swallow me, and that I would lose myself again. And in 2020, when he's 7 years old and I'm going through all of this, suddenly I can tap into my mother instinct, and I know exactly what to do. And I feel I can hold him. I feel that from that state of being wounded, but being so me, so myself, no more protective tower, no more fear. I'm there. I'm where I feared the most, pain. I'm in the heart. I'm right in the center of my heart. And it's my way in. It's really my way in.
So now you've taken all of this, so that's 2020. So it was after that that you sort of began also were you already doing craniosacral therapy at the time?
I
You
was,
were already, and so you already had done some of those things. I mean, and we met in 2022, right? So that was shortly after. So
23.
your time at Delphi and doing an in-depth channeling course was sort of your real step into something a bit different, correct?
Yeah. So when all of this happened and my heart was so open and I was able to go in, this is really when I had my spiritual awakening, and I was so guided. I was so guided. I knew that what I was going through was for me. I knew how to go about it. When my old self was anxious and fearful, I knew that I was going to be okay. I just knew. I can't explain it in words because it's so subtle, yet so present. I just knew. And I looked back at my life and I understood all those moments in my life where I made decisions not knowing why or not knowing who was in the driving seat of my life. I knew that I had received guidance.
Yes, yes. We are definitely not doing this alone. There's lots of spirits
No, exactly.
showing us the way. So embodiment, though, has really become one of your primary tools. But I know that you're using a few other tools when you're working with clients. So would you like to maybe share with us a little bit how you're
Or
approaching your client care? Because it's a little bit different than what many people are doing, I believe.
I think the most important part or point is to really meet a person where they are. So trusting that I have my tools, but it's not about me. It's really about where is this person in their life, and can I meet them where they are so that they feel it's like I'm walking towards them and I stand next to them. I'm not even asking them to meet me halfway. It's I walk there and I just stand next to them and I just listen to really what's going on for them. And as I listen, I can hear the story under. I can hear the story that they can't hear anymore, either because it's too close or because they trapped into a story that they're telling themselves.
You know,
Um,
I know firsthand that you are a very deep and good listener. That I think is definitely one of your very special gifts. But you're also listening so deeply because you are sincerely and from your heart curious about people. You really are therefore profoundly interested in their stories that they're telling you. And so, can you share with us maybe a bit more about how you see your role as a light worker?
so as a light worker, yes, I am passionate about people, about stories, about stories and people. They allow me to travel. They open up my window. It's like people do things I never thought one could do. And I'm so amazed at stories, at how people overcome their fears, how they manage to turn their life. And as a light worker, it's really about helping them understand the light that they have within themselves. It's uncovering, it's remembering, and it's bringing that embodiment so that they, in that presence, in that deep presence, uh, they can feel it. They can start to see it. Even they can start to hear it.
Speaking of all of that, I was just remembering very fondly of last year when I had the opportunity to come and visit you in Beirut and spend a few days with you there and I got to meet this beautiful community of people that you have around you. And it's clear what a wonderful bond you've all built, and your listening skills has just really created this wonderful group of people that are there. So I'm thinking, because now we've created this an online community, and you've known because we've talked about it before we even got started. And you are part of our Global Lightworkers United, and you've attended some of our events, and from the comfort of your home in Beirut. I'd be love to hear a little bit, what being part of Global Lightworkers United sort of means to you.
It's, I was just telling a friend who lives here, and I keep telling her, today I had this conversation. I told her, I said, Laura, you have to go on this platform. It's your people. You're going to hang out with your people. You see, it's so much fun. So this is what it is for me. It's really a place, a virtual place, where it's like being in a toy store where you have those people who connect at the same level and bring in stories and open up your field of vision even more. And to be able to have that from where I am, it's very, very special. It's more than special.
Yes. Well, we're so glad that you're a part of our community, and you know that we, anytime we hear anything, we're sending you love and light the whole time. It is amazing. The power of the internet just exemplifies the fact that we are all completely connected. We're completely, completely connected. And you and I, especially, I mean, you're in my name, as you know, so it's really special. So, Dina, I close every conversation with what we call the everyday spark. And that's, so if you can just sort of maybe share with us a little bit, what simple joy or daily practice do you have in your life that helps to keep that energetic spark and light shining inside of you?
So I do have let's say, a practice, but it's not a practice that I do in a very disciplined way. And it's important for me to say this because this is what it means to be met. So I'm meeting myself as best as I can. And when I feel that I have the energy to do the practice, I do it. And when I don't feel that I have the energy, I just don't, with kindness and love. And so something I love and brings me so much joy and really fuels my energy is whenever I'm out there running errands, whatever I have to do in my life, I just love starting those small conversations or smiling to strangers or having that little joke you do. Just those little moments. I just love those interactions.
I've seen you in action doing that, and I love it. You do. You manage to start a conversation with just about anyone over any little thing, and you do. You come alive, and the beautiful thing is to see how you also help other people to come alive. So that is another one of the many gifts that you have. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we sign off here today?
No, thank you. Really, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that light here to Lebanon, to Beirut, in my home, and really for the opportunity to be part of Global Lightworkers United.
We are so grateful that you're here with us, and I've just loved having you here with me today in Santa Barbara. So thank you so much for being you. Your beautiful heart, I know, radiates right through the frequency of this podcast. Your personal story and how you've learned to simultaneously embody and share your light is a shining example to all of us about living every day to its fullest potential. To our listeners, Dina's story encourages us all to remember what is at the heart of Global Lightworkers United. Each of us lighting our own lamp, trusting that our light matters, and remembering that as we walk together, our individual flames unite into something much brighter than any one of us alone. This has been Conversations That Illuminate, a Global Lightworkers United podcast. Until next time, I'm Michelle, and I thank you for being the beautiful light that you are.